Hi, True Crime Besties. So I'm Tasha. I sit down with you guys and talk about murders that have happened. And this one has a little bit of history behind it. It is based out of Utah and it's the Hi-Fi Shop murders. So let's get into it. Okay, so a couple guys were involved in this Hi-Fi Shop murder that took place in Utah. So let's talk about Del first. He was born in 1952 in the Caribbean. In 1970, he moved to New York. Del lived in Brooklyn. He was known as like a really snotty, bratty kid. Like nobody really liked him. He was strange and weird. And in 1973, he actually joined the Air Force and he was stationed to the Hill Air Force Base in Utah as a helicopter mechanic. And just a week after arriving, a murder happens. And already, like, people didn't really like Del. Like, people thought he was weird, he was strange, and didn't really like him much. Well, Sergeant Edwards turns up dead. He's in his apartment, and how he died was with the gun with, like, the spear on the end or something, like a, what is it, batoon, whatever? I don't know. But it was, like, right in his eye. And there was no evidence, couldn't connect anybody, but when they were investigating it, everybody was like suspicious of Del. Like they used to hang out a lot, and I guess like every time Del came around, like he would take Sergeant Edwards' keys. And so one day he confronted him about it and ended up changing his locks, and not long after that is when he ended up dead. So but there was no evidence to tie Del to it. He was just, very suspicious of him. And Del struggled to fall in line. He failed to report to duty. He was writing bad checks, was stealing crimes, stealing cars, doing petty stuff. Even a commander tried to give him an honorable discharge, but it wasn't happening. Then we'll go to William Andrews. He was born in Virginia in 1953. He was raised by his 14-year-old sister Audrey. They were really close. He was like said to be a really solid guy, minded his own business, like nothing really, bothered him. He was cool. Will was stationed where Del was, as a helicopter mechanic as well. And unlike Del, people really liked William. William got along with people, he had friends, and so people really liked him. And Del was still doing his petty crimes, but he felt like he wanted more, like a crime that's going to really pay off financially. So there's this hi-fi shop in Ogden, Utah that had expensive like stereo systems and stuff like that. And so Del knew of that store and asked Will, like, hey Will, you want to come help me rob this? Like, we can make money, bro. And so they recruits Will, and then Will was like, I got another guy, Keith Roberts, and they added 2 more guys, which were unidentified. We don't know who they were. So 5 guys total robbed the hi-fi store, and Del and Will scope it out like days prior, to make sure they go in, get out, and leave with whatever they can. So in the evening of April 22nd, 1974, 2 young kids were working there, 19-year-old Michelle and 20-year-old Stanley. Del and Will would bust in, aggressive with a gun, force the 2 in the back room to the basement, tie him up, and started robbing. Started robbing the place, And there was this young kid, too, that used to be able to park his car in the lot, and instead of going around the building, he decides to cut through. So 16-year-old Courtney walks in, wrong place, wrong time, basically. So Will had a gun and now points it at Courtney, and Will actually punches him and kicks him in the stomach and tosses him down the stairs, and has Del tie him up. So the other 2 men ended up leaving. They took off, and so just leaving Del and Will. And parents started to worry, of course. 2 hours after the robbery, Stanley's dad, Orrin, drives to the store. Wrong place, wrong time again. Dad tries to reason with them, like, please let us go, don't do this, but they're all tied up. And Del won't budge. Del was like, no, we gotta, you know. And Will started becoming nervous because Del, it was like just a robbery, you know. We were just gonna go in, get out, and rob him, and that was it. And Del was like, no, I gotta kill him too, you know. So Will started to get nervous and not wanting to do this. Del told him, stop being a chicken. And Del's favorite movie was a film, 1973, Magnum Force. They have people drink this Drano. So Del loves that movie, and Drano was involved. It was called a German drug. So he grabs Drano and makes them drink it, tells them that it's just vodka with drugs in it that'll make them go to sleep. And 4 hours into this, mind you, of course, parents get worried. So his mom, like, is calling him. She drives around, sees his car. So Carol pulls in, and she walks in the store, wrong place, wrong time, so tied up. So now there's 5 people. And so they make him start drinking this, and, like, it'll give you blisters on the mouth, burn yourself, like, all of them start yelling, coughing, crying. Oren was the only one that was like, no, and he pretended to drink it, and it was just running down the side. He was trying to be, you know. And William leaves, and he's like, dude, I gotta go. And William's like, 30 minutes, I'll be out. And Del is thinking of, like, anything. And Del grabs the gun from Will, and he ends up shooting all 5 of them. And he discovers that Oren is still alive, so the dad. He's still alive, so he stabs him in the ear with a pencil and then stomps on it. Oh, so, Oren survived and Court survived. Court spent 250 days in the hospital. So Oren tells the police everything. He was able to still speak, so he told them everything. He told them, you know, what they looked like. It was the most brutal crime forever, you know. And then April 23rd, 2 boys living on base were looking through a garbage can. They find 2 wallets, Michelle and Courtney's. They take it to police, so police clearly know that, okay, it was guys on the Air Force. So police, like, called the Air Force Base, give a description of the 2 guys, and they actually were like, yeah, that sounds like Del and Will, and they were really acting strange and nervous the last couple of days. And they recognized Del's name because he was, you know, suspected in Sergeant Edwards' murder. So they searched the rooms of the men, and they had, you know, list of of different shops, and Hi-Fi Shop was one of them. Found tape, storage unit by the and a storage unit that was rented a day before the robbery, and police found the key to the storage in Del's pocket, and that's where they found everything. Drano, TV equipment, stereo equipment, just everything from the store. And then Keith Roberts got charged as well. They never got the 2 guys that went away. There were 63 witnesses and 300 pieces of hard evidence. All 3 got charged with the same. Del was the first man in history, or first man in Utah to get executed by lethal injection in 1987. Will died in 1992. And the case caused a lot of debate because, like, crimes in the 1970s were, like, well, it caused a lot of debate because they felt like Will left the store, you know, he should be charged for his participation in the murder, or in the robbing, but not to be put to death. He wasn't in there, he left the store, but he got executed too. So the only one, Keith was the only one that got spared the death penalty, but yeah, so Del was the first man to be executed, and happened in Utah. So I thought that was pretty interesting, wanted to share with all my Utah friends. And people would even fight for Will, but still he got electrocuted, or a lethal injection. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed.